Today on CityCast Las Vegas, Nevada current deputy editor April Corbin-Gurnis explains how we're fighting back against the Trump administration's latest Colorado River cuts. Plus, creative producer Rob Katchelreese gives us the lowdown on some news that could breathe new life into the Water Street district. And we also dive into how Nevada can be ranked one of the worst places to live, while Las Vegas is simultaneously ranked the happiest travel destination. But first, guys, some sad news. Dolly Parton passed away yesterday. Obviously, a tough one to hear. She's someone who performed here in Las Vegas, I believe in the 80s, also in the early 90s over at the Mirage as well. Look, an icon in the entertainment industry for sure. And one where everybody that has an appreciation for music in general going to be mourning for sure.
Yeah, she's just been a presence in just the modern entertainment landscape for so long. I was looking up some information, and our buddy Vintage Las Vegas was posting a marquee outside the Riviera in 1981 where Dolly Parton was performing. You know, that's like the 9 to 5 era. That's like her at her peak, but just kind of grew as a presence for so long. And her last officially scheduled concerts was a residency that was supposed to take place at Caesar's Palace, I believe the year before last, got delayed a year. That didn't happen either. So it's very sad. A lot of people were looking forward to seeing Dolly perform at Caesar's Palace during December, which is always like NFR month. The Cowboys are in town. They would have had a great time. But one of those performers who was so talented, but also such a good soul. I know she put a lot of her own resources and money behind promoting books and literacy with children. So, I mean, you got to love somebody who does that, and just a very talented person who's going to be missed here in Vegas and elsewhere.
Most definitely. It's always, awesome when you see someone of that stature putting their money where their mouth is. So definitely we're all going to be mourning the loss of Dolly Parton. It's Wednesday, August 26th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. All right, guys, so let's dive into it. Obviously, water, always a hot topic here in Las Vegas. In April, it seems like Nevada is finally fighting back as the feds are trying to cut our water even more. What's going on?
Yeah, so this week, the state of Nevada filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's Colorado River Plan. The Colorado River Plan, if you're unfamiliar, is this 10-year management plan that came out last week after months and months, maybe years of negotiations and back and forth. Nevada is super not happy about what is in that plan. The plan, among other things, calls for a 17% cut in water use over the next 2 years and even larger cuts during dry years. So to Nevada's water officials, that feels kind of like a slap in the face because we already use so little water compared to other states. And we've been a leader on water reclamation and sort of water issues. So it doesn't feel fair. But one of the biggest issues that people have with it is that only the lower basin states, that's Nevada, Arizona, and California, are subject to mandatory water cutbacks in the plan. So the upper basin, so the upper basin states, that's Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, and Utah, are not subject to that. So we got upper versus lower beef, basically, right? So So the lawsuit alleges that the feds did not properly analyze the potential economic cost of water cuts, and that they sort of violated a bunch of, it's legal court. So they're arguing basically on everything that they can to try and stop this plan from going into effect.
Yeah, it's a whole wild deal. I think we should kind of lay out, the situation right now with our water consumption. In April, you noted the fact that we do a really great job recycling water. I want to make sure we just kind of lay that out for the listeners at home. And we talked a lot about water here and there, so some of this might be a bit repetitive, but just so you guys at home do know, we consumed 198,000 acre feet last year. For anybody that doesn't know what an acre foot is, it's essentially the equivalent of water that would fill up an entire football field in 1 foot of water. So that's like your visual there, okay? And comparatively, for us...
So if Allegiant Stadium got flooded, that would give you a good idea.
Exactly, yeah. What would they do about the plaza out front if the stadium flooded too? I wonder about that. But, to April's point too, though, you noted that we do a really good job of recycling water. The rest of the states in this one don't do a great job. Nevada in general recycles about 85% of our water. That's according to a study from UCLA that analyzed wastewater recycling. For reference, Arizona recycles 52% of its water through similar processes, California only 22%, and then all the upper basin states that aren't willing to take cuts have done 18% from New Mexico, Colorado 3.6%, Wyoming 3.4%, and Utah less than 1%. Taking all of that into account, it's crazy, yeah. And so taking all of that into account, I don't know, Rob, like, do you feel like it's surprising the plan that came out on Friday and how it lays out that we're taking brunt of all these cuts?
Yeah, I don't know. I keep trying to look at all this information and make sense of it and how they really look at Southern Nevada. I mean, to be fair, we're much smaller usage-wise than these other states because it's really just our little tip of Las Vegas that's consuming directly from the Colorado River. But you're right. We've been an example for recycling, for being sustainable with our water and reusing it. I mean, if we can have a big giant lake in front of the Bellagio and keep that around and make it work, I think we could be an example for everybody else. And the sad part is we don't seem to be getting the credit for it or being recognized for it. It's almost like, oh, well, Southern Nevada is pretty good at this. We'll just keep taking more and more from them, maybe until we complain about it. And I guess maybe that's what this lawsuit is, just kind of giving them a nudge back and being like, hold up here. We'll volunteer and we'll make cuts and we'll do our part, but you can't take total advantage of us.
Sometimes it feels like people outside of Nevada forget that people do live here, that it's not just that there's like, there's a whole lot of millions of people here that need things, water and otherwise. And they kind of forget all we are is the staff for their hotels, but that's not true. Yeah. We deserve water.
If this whole plan were to be like seen all the way through, we have the potential for getting our water allocation cut by over 70%. Like, that is a massive number, and that would leave our region with less than 86,500 acre feet, which is just a wild number when you think about it. Because again, to the point that we've talked about, not to bombard people with numbers here and everything, but like, I think it's important to get this stuff out there. As we have grown, again, we're not just the Strip. Our population has increased a ton. 2002 was actually our peak water use. This is according to the Southern Nevada Water District. We used 325,000 acre feet. Over that span, we cut our water consumption by 40%, all while our population was growing by 58%. So we've been able to grow and cut water, which again, like all of that paired, it's like, why are we getting knocked when we just like are already living off of so little water resources and they're trying to cut it even more? And again, the folks up north, they're not willing to make any cuts whatsoever. It makes no sense.
Yeah, we got beef. We got I think to their credit, I guess to be fair to the upper basin states, they say that they've already had to reduce the amount of water they take, but it's nowhere near, I think, what the lower basin states have taken over time. So it's just they're closer to it. They get it first. You know what I mean? So I guess they're up the pipeline. So that kind of helps
in theory,
them,
they're giving it to us. I mean, it comes straight from the Rocky Mountains. So
that's how they see it. They say it's our water. We could take it all. You know what I mean? But
that's like the law of the river, right? Like whoever's like closest to it or whatever, as it runs down, they technically have the right. But that seems outdated. It's crazy to me that we can't come, that we can't come together and figure out how to make this work in the modern world.
You know what? I think we should fight back. I think I'm on board with April that we need to have a little bit of a civil war, upper basin states versus lower basin
water
states.
Wars.
And you know what? If you're a tourist coming from Colorado or Utah, well, we're going to do a tariff of our own. We're going to bill you to come visit Vegas and enjoy everything we have to offer, including our water at the Bellagio fountains.
Siphon off their water to whatever room they're staying in. They can only use it during certain hours during the day.
They get a water tax. If your driver's license says Utah, New Mexico, Wyoming, or Colorado, you get a water tax.
That would be wild, wouldn't it? So I don't know. I mean, like in terms of going forward, guys, like what do you think about this lawsuit? Like, do you think we've got a shot here to make any headway? What's the real purpose of this whole thing?
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know about the legal merits. I haven't seen.
We got to call David and ask him his advice on this one, I guess.
And I haven't seen too many water sort of rights experts and stuff weigh in on sort of the case. But certainly, it is a statement to the federal government that we're not going to go down swinging. You know what I mean? And everything is always subject to negotiation and changes. So even if the sort of legal lawsuit is, even if the lawsuit is unsuccessful. Maybe it sparks them to reconsider stuff or to revisit things. There's always room for negotiation and talks and stuff. So I think that could be what we see from it if we don't see actual legal action.
And if we know anything about the federal government, it's that they don't really focus on solving a problem until it's past the point of coming up with a solution ahead of it. And it's turned into this kind of balancing act where Lake Powell is in a little more trouble than Lake Mead and is approaching Deadpool status or getting closer to it. Its hydroelectricity is in danger. And so they're trying to look after that and worrying about Lake Mead a little bit later down the line. But at some point, you need enough water for it all. And I don't know what the ultimate answer is besides let's ban almonds in California.
There you go. That is a big water
They
use.
use more water than anything else. I don't need
Alfalfa,
almonds.
I think, is
could
another
live
big one
without
too,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need that.
Blame
It's kind
California.
of crazy.
This is what the lower basin states turn on each other. It's going to happen.
We've got an almond shortage coming. I can see it now. Oh, no.
Buy almonds.
That would actually suck for me. I eat almonds every day.
Switch to coconut milk, Jesse.
There you go. Las Vegas wasn't ready for Elvis Presley in 1956. Billed by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, as the atomic-powered singer, his debut at the New Frontier met an indifferent audience. But when Elvis returned in 1969, he was ready to transform Las Vegas entertainment with a secret weapon: groundbreaking costume design. Join costume historian Karen Feder for Elvis, Dressed to Rock, a fascinating presentation tracing the thrilling evolution of the King's iconic stage wardrobe at the International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. This presentation is part of Duck Duck Shed 2026, the cultural experience from the Neon Museum about Las Vegas design, culture, and the city's ever-changing built environment. Admission includes a backstage tour, entry to Elvis's green room, and a tour of the stage as well. You can experience Elvis where history happened at Westgate Las Vegas. Get tickets now at duckduckshed.com.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quag.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quag, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned the support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quag, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquag.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quag. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
All right, so let's leave water in the past now. Well, I guess actually now that I think of it, we're kind of not, because we're talking about Water Street. Look how it all
From
comes
water
around.
to
We're going to have to
watermark
rename it.
on
We're going to
Water
have to
Street.
rename it.
Look at me trying to create a transition. They're going to cut that from the title as well. It's just going to be the Street District. We can't call it that anymore. But the tallest building down there, Rob, does have a new owner. The property itself is kind of interesting. I guess it was foreclosed on this past spring, but that's kind of just the beginning of everything. And now it's starting to get attention because there's a new owner. What exactly is going on down there in Henderson in the non-Water Street district?
Yeah, this is all, this is a big story, but it's all been kind of happening under the radar for the past few months. So I'm going to give some credit to Eli Siegel of the Review Journal, because he did some good reporting on this this week. And we all know and love the Water Street district. It's Henderson's official historic downtown. It's a place where you can go and play a few slots, drink some craft beer, maybe pay off a speeding ticket at City Hall over at the Municipal Court Building. There's a little something for everybody. There's a plaza for big events. It's a very cool, kind of community-oriented, historic district.
Now, when we were doing our neighborhood wars, sorry to jump in, didn't Water Street got a ton of attention, right? People said it could be like the next arts district. Where did it end up ranking, Rob?
It was, did it win?
I think we all lost our minds and said that the Southwest Valley was going to be the next arts district. But even though that was the one I endorsed as far as presentation-wise goes, I do think Water Street has a little more in common. And a lot of it is that push and pull between, the business is there and who's going to actually live there. And a big part of that is a building called the Watermark. So as I mentioned with the Arts District, if you build it, they will come. The Watermark was designed as a mixed-use space for residential high-rise living. 7 floors, that's a high-rise, I think just barely.
Yeah. I think for us, heck yeah.
But the idea is to expand the presence of small business in the area and have those new residents come, stay, and enjoy all that business. So developer Strata Development Group, acquired the land from the city in 2020, or I believe 2019, and broke ground in the next year or two. It was a $50 million project, and definitely the biggest development project in downtown Henderson, probably in recent memory. Now, the 7-story building promised more than 150 apartments and about 30,000 square feet of retail and office space. It's a very nice looking building, kind of like industrial, contemporary, modern. But, this is an era where costs are on the rise. Construction costs rose more than 20%. Disputes erupted with the general contractor and work stopped altogether, I believe, in late 2023. And the property was pretty much abandoned for a while. At one point, construction workers walked off the job. And the co-owners of Strata made a very public apology that got a lot of attention in the local news. And there were lawsuits. There was an $11 million claim from a contractor, Gillett Construction, and a default action from lender Acres Capital before the developers placed the project in Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that was in mid-2024. So long story short, the Watermark got another chance in early 2025. Acres put some $28 million or so in additional financing to pay those contractors to finish construction. The building was eventually completed. The apartments began filling up, but still the financial problems were there. Strata couldn't lease the commercial space as quickly as expected, and the Watermark went into foreclosure in April of this past year, with nearly $42 million in unpaid debt and some other costs. And an investment company out of California named NextWave, which sounds like an appropriate name for the situation.
Yeah.
is
More
now,
water references.
They acquired the building and they're now the new owners. So it's onwards and upwards for the Watermark.
Yeah. So long story short, it's essentially the same saga or a similar saga to what we saw with Fontainebleau, right? It seems like very similar trajectory in terms of everything going on down there. So like April, does it feel like it's doomed?
I don't know that it's going to be doomed in the way that sort of Fontainebleau was, just because it does have the benefit of being sort of the only thing on Water Street right now that's there, and if you want to move into that area, I think without easily anyway, it seems like and there's space to grow on Water Street as opposed to like the Strip, which is very congested and full of businesses that are sort of operating great and all that. So I think hopefully, maybe I'm just being optimistic today, you guys, but I think it's got potential. I mean, it's a cool space. I stared at that building every day for not every day, but I spent a lot of time at American First Center, the hockey rink right there, watching my kids play and practice. So I've seen that building go up. I have sat there watching it block the sky view. It's a cool building, and once it's there, I think it will thrive because there's a lot of foot traffic in that area. The other businesses in that area seem to have a lot of people in them every time I'm around there. So I think it'll do well once it gets there. So I think it's a long road coming, but it'll be hopefully, in years from now, it'll be a staple and something we can't remember not having.
Well, here's some optimism. According to NextWave, the apartments are more than 70% leased. So people are moving in. It's the commercial space that's not leased at the moment. And to be fair, some of the businesses that were in line to move in kind of got sick of waiting and moved on. So I think they're already in a good place. And let's remind everybody, Fontainebleau is very much alive. So they had their second act and moved on. Not that they don't have struggles like anybody else does, but I think the comparison lies with kind of the outside economic forces that you can't always control. So the Fontainebleau symbolized the downturn of the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. Construction of the Watermark began in the COVID era. So it's a time where costs went up. Supply chain wasn't always predictable, and both were unfinished eyesores for a while. But I think both will ultimately be successful.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of an exciting time down there in the Water Street District. Again, April, you talked about a lot of the growth and witnessing it and being down there a ton. I'll be honest, I haven't spent a ton of time down in the Water Street District recently. Pre-COVID, I did when I first moved to Vegas, just because I was closer to it. But I loved the vibe down there. I was bummed that Hardway 8 didn't work out when it was down there. I thought that was a really cool concept. I know too, though, the
Sports
coffee
bar.
class. Yeah, sports bar, exactly. And so I was very curious to see how that was going to do. I thought the scene was sweet, but the food wasn't the greatest. And I don't know how much that played into it. But, just in terms of the Arts District and like coffee class, I know they're going to be opening like a kind of like a high class cocktail lounge bar in the middle of like a 3-story complex there too. Like it just seems like there's a lot going on down there, and this can help spur it and bring more people down there and maybe like add lighter fluid to what's going on in terms of the growth down there.
Definitely. I look forward to it as someone who spends who goes there 3 times a week. All right, guys. I need it to be successful.
What's your top spot in Water Street aside from the America First Center?
The vending machine at the hockey rink.
They've got the finest candy bars in all of Southern Nevada.
I'm going to forget the name of the barbecue place. I like that place. It's further down.
Biscuits and Bourbon, right?
Yeah, I like Biscuits and Bourbon. That place
I think they're
is
super
cool.
underrated.
I'm going to say Sticks, which is right across the street from the hockey rink. The food is not like something to write home about. It's not the best, but the vibes are nice, and the people there have been nice every time I'm there. So, I'm easy.
And Water Street continues the upswing. I mean, Atwell Suites opened, which is part of the pass, I believe. And that kind of gave Water Street its first hotel. So it has kind of a contemporary boutique image. I believe there's a wine bar in the lobby, which I'd love to check out. And then also you have those kind of locals-oriented casinos that have been kind of shuffling around ownership lately. And I believe they're all under the same owner now. So you have the Rainbow Club, you have Emerald Island, which I think just went through a renovation to an extent. And then the Pass, which I believe has closed. It's going to get another renovation. So these locals casinos that keep bringing local customers back who kind of love like free hot dog night and that kind of thing, they're doing very well. So I kind of like seeing, the new businesses and then the old businesses that are sticking around and having a new era.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. I am curious, though, like how it changes the Water Street District in general. Because, I mean, they kind of had that like old Vegas feel with the older casinos and everything. Do you think the growth that's going on down there like fits what Water Street is, or is it like fundamentally changing the vibe of things down there and turning it into more of like a higher end area even maybe?
Well, if you look around, there's all those kind of historic homes that date back to the 1940s when the Basic Magnesium plant basically built early era Henderson. So you still get a feel and a taste for that when just driving around those surrounding neighborhoods. You still get a good feel for that going down Water Street itself. Yes, they've improved it. There's been some development. It looks a little shinier, a little bit more new. But then you have places like the Gold Mine Tavern, which is just like this kind of beautifully historic, worn out dive bar that just kind of feels better every time you go and visit it. So I do think Water Street does get the balance right. Much like the Arts District, do you keep what people love about it as more and more development comes in? And that's the big question.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's going to be fascinating to watch and see, how the growth continues to spur down there. It's exciting times, though, overall for the Water Street District. Las Vegas wasn't ready for Elvis Presley in 1956. Billed by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, as the atomic-powered singer, his debut at the New Frontier met an indifferent audience. But when Elvis returned in 1969, he was ready to transform Las Vegas entertainment with a secret weapon: groundbreaking costume design. Join costume historian Karen Feder for Elvis, Dressed to Rock, a fascinating presentation tracing the thrilling evolution of the King's iconic stage wardrobe at the International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. This presentation is part of Duck Duck Shed 2026, the cultural experience from the Neon Museum about Las Vegas design, culture, and the city's ever-changing built environment. Admission includes a backstage tour, entry to Elvis's green room, and a tour of the stage as well. You can experience Elvis where history happened at Westgate Las Vegas. Get tickets now at duckduckshed.com.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quag.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quag, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned the support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quag, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquag.com.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Alex Quag. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
April, Rob, I have a question for you guys. Do you like living in Southern Nevada?
Well, I'm here.
This week. I do. I'm an optimist today. No, I like it. Not particularly when it's 113 degrees outside. It is very, very difficult. But
You're kind of
matters,
asking the
right?
wrong time of year.
Yeah, this is fair. Yeah, nobody
90,
that lives here loves it this time of year, I guess. Yeah, so that's fair. It's just kind of crazy because we hear these studies all the time that come out that like say we're a great place to live, we're a horrible place to live, all these different things. And now we have yet another study that's saying Nevada as a state is one of the worst states to live. In late July, a study done by Consumer Affairs rated us the 6th worst state to move to. Now, Wallet Hub is piling on. They released another study saying we ranked 45th among all states. That's thanks largely to low scores in affordability, the local economy, education, healthcare, and safety. All things that, like, if we're being real, yeah, we're kind of struggling in those areas. But how much do they weight them? That's the thing I wonder. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. But the interesting thing in this and kind of the back and forth between that and some new news with a study by Irish travel insurance company Just Cover, which actually named us the 4th happiest travel destination in the world and the happiest travel destination in the U.S., it's kind of hard to kind of wrap your head around. Overall, though, their method analyzed over 1 million reviews across tourist hotspots. And this one's kind of funny. The researchers said that in the study, they were looking for how often travelers used language that expressed pure happiness and joy and used those numbers to create a, quote, happy place score. I just love that that scoring system.
Were these online reviews of Spearmint Rhino, perhaps?
Oh man, that could be good or bad depending on which strip club they're getting the reviews from, I guess.
It's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, very true, very true. Our score here in Vegas was an 88 out of 100, and Tulum actually topped the list worldwide with a perfect 100 out of 100 score. Very interesting there.
Well,
I know they're a
sense.
cocktail hotspot. Yeah. Tulum is awesome. I will say that. But the big question for me here is like, do the stats on here on paper with this thing like actually tell the story of what a city like Las Vegas is like? Because to me, how can we be ranked one of the worst places to live, but one of the best places to travel to and visit? It doesn't make sense to me.
I can't make sense out of it because I do love living here and I don't really love the idea of being a tourist here. I mean, I get to dip in and out of the strip here and there, but vacationing in Vegas feels like work to me. I mean, big sprawling casinos, like trying to, rig paid parking kiosks into garages that never had them in the first place with these side streets. It feels very busy, congested, expensive. Everybody complains about the nickel and diming. While living here is relatively affordable, the home prices have gone up, but not as much as in other parts of the country, including California next door. So, I think we should flip the results of these studies. I don't think they tell the whole story.
Yeah, it should be noted that Wallet Hub study that you referenced put Idaho as the best place to live. Like,
I should have referenced that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. You wouldn't pay me to live in Idaho.
Yeah, no Spearmint Rhino in Idaho.
All right, well, maybe I'll reconsider.
Yeah, my nephew goes to school in Idaho at the University of Idaho. No knock on Moscow, Idaho, but it's not exactly a hot spot. And I've been to Boise, and Boise's cool, but home prices are crazy up there. And then you're living in Idaho. Like, come on.
And you're in Idaho. Come on. No. We have a lot of stuff we have a lot of things to work on as a city, particularly when it comes to affordability and all of that. But like Rob said, comparative to other places, it still is hanging on there. So I think it's great. But I also wouldn't mind being a tourist here. I see the appeal. Just go wild for 3 days and then go home back to your like office job in Idaho.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, we always joke like Vegas wasn't built on winners; it was built on losers. So like, are they talking to people that just don't gamble? Like, because I don't know many people that leave here winning money.
Well, maybe they lost so much money, their Wi-Fi access got pulled, so they can't leave those angry comments.
If you lose all your money in Spearmint Rhino, you still leave happy, okay?
That's a good point. That's a good point. But we pull up these studies all the time, and we have fun with them. But I think some of these on-paper stats don't really tell the story of what a city is like all the time.
Agreed.
Because, sometimes we go down the list and we're like, the schools aren't the best. They have issues. Healthcare here isn't great. We have a doctor problem. You kind of look at that and, the affordability is taking a hit, even if it's not as bad as ultimately it is in some other places. So you go, okay, on paper, this looks like a rough story, but I think just kind of hanging in Vegas, it's not so bad. It's a good place to live. It's easy to get around, and you can actually have a real home without paying $1 million for it.
At least, if you buy now, then it's a little tougher. But with those things in mind, let's just take this study at face value. If they really do think that we're one of the worst places to live, how would we correct it? What are the things that we do have gripes with that we could make it a better place for locals and more appealing for all of us to live here? I mean, again, I think we're an interesting crowd here. We love living here, at least not this time of year, but we love living here. But
we have a podcast and newsletter that's supposed to be all about living here, so we better at least like it a little bit.
Yeah. So how can we, I don't know, maybe peel the curtain back and let more people enjoy it more, or what can we do to make it more appealing for people to live here overall?
I grew up here, so I'm a defender of Las Vegas, and I lived through the 90s and the sort of the big boom era of that.
Era.
And the thing that I would always defend Las Vegas on specifically was that you could live here and have a sort of great middle class life without having a college degree and without sort of needing to work two jobs, right? My mom was a cashier at the Imperial Palace, rest in peace, Imperial Palace. And then she was a cashier at the Fiesta Rancho, rest in peace, Fiesta. And
miss that a little less.
Yeah, miss that a lot. Yeah. So she was there she spent that, and she made she could buy a car, and she could buy a house, and she could go buy fake purses. You know what I mean? She would do all of those things, and it was perfectly fine and perfectly great. And you couldn't do that in a lot of other places. And we were this great place where you didn't have, we love to joke about the education system doesn't care about schools, kids, because we don't need them to count above 21 or whatever. And there may be some truth to that. But the other side of that is that you don't need a college degree, which we know how unaffordable college is now, but it's always been a problem, right? And you could do really well here. And that was what made it so great. I think that's getting harder now as, the tourism industry takes a hit and jobs are sort of lost there, or they aren't keeping up with sort of that and just the changing market. But that's what we need to get back to. There's all the flashy stuff, but really it comes down to, can people work and live here? And we had that for a really long time. And it feels like it's going away, especially if you bought your house and you've seen how hard it is to get into a house now. But I think we could get back there. And I think there would be smart choices state lawmakers and counties and all of the cities and all that could do to sort of get back to that. How do we get to creating more jobs that people can live off of and have a life? Because that's what people want,
Yeah, it is amazing how Las Vegas seems to be running so hard away from its uniqueness and what made it different from every other city in this country. But you know what? You want us to make the city more appealing to locals? I say, let's stop while we're ahead. We're running out of water. We don't need to appeal to any more new locals.
Yeah, plenty of Californians have moved here, I guess, is what you're telling me, Rob.
Yeah,
I'm going to get in trouble for saying
myself
that.
Included. But. Like I said, though, I washed myself of California. I moved here from Alabama and Colorado first, then came here,
That's fair. All right.
You
gave you a pass.
Oh, I love it here. Yeah, I love it here. I honestly, Vegas is home. This is an awesome place to live. And so I disagree with this study. I'll be completely honest. I was like, my God, this is crazy. I think we're probably more in line with the great place to visit, also great place to live. It's just funny because we talk about it all the time. We're constantly defending it. So it seems as though they're taking into account the narrative that's out there about Vegas only being the Strip, I guess.
Move into the Watermark.
There you go. Yeah, let's go book it. Let's run out of here and go down to Water Street District and check it out. Thanks, guys. This was fun today.
Thanks, Jess.
Absolutely.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter as well. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take care.